but don't do it against the editor. Right? Very important, because sometimes what happens is just, they're idiots. How could they say that? And then you start writing, no, don't. Because you lose at the end of it. Right? So be strategic. Don't do anything that could jeopardize your chances. Provide a cover letter whenever you have a chance. Declare any conflict of interest. What happens sometimes is when it could be that one of the editors is either your close colleague, family member, whatever. Make sure that you declare that. You say, this person is close friend, or my son, my wife, my husband, my this. So things that can cause conflict of interest, declare them. Never, ever think that you're not going to be caught. And when you're caught, it's going to be very bad. It's better to be honest. I'm telling you, honesty always pays in the long term. Always. Dishonesty pays only in the short term. In the long term, you lose. And you lose dearly when you're dishonest. Be honest. Just say, this person, I have a conflict, shouldn't be reviewing my paper. Shouldn't be handling my paper. Somebody else. And people appreciate it because if the editor-in-chief sees that you're honest, and even if your paper is in the middle, they probably would say, let's accept it because the person was honest. So it's actually positive, right? So if a paper is based on a conference and it's fine, and you extend it, say it. Don't say it's totally new. And as a matter of fact, you have to actually say how different it is from the conference paper, okay? And also submit the conference paper along with the journal paper so that the editor could compare the difference. I do that all the time. We have a conference paper and we add, and we actually submit the journal paper and say, how is it that we improve the conference paper? And we have a letter that actually shows the differences, and I submit, and then for them to decide whether it's enough or not. Right? So it's very honest. All right, actually the last one is not very important. Let's skip it. Then receiving the reviews. So after you've submitted the paper, you wait, and then you have you receive. So the first thing you should do, read the comments carefully. Spend time reading your comments, right? Because when you do this, like your heart starts pounding. It's getting rejection, right? And you start getting nervous. What's going to happen? Just calm down and take a deep breath. Do yoga. Just okay. Then read your comments, and then organize comments by reviews. Because usually what happens, if the paper is recommended for major reviews, organize them by reviewers, okay? And organize between major and minor. The reason why you want to do this is that you don't want to spend too much time responding to minor comments. For instance, in this paper, if the reviewer says, why are you using this paper? Say, okay, we'll change it. Don't say, why are you saying it? Other papers do it too. Why does it? You put the wrong paper. It's a minor thing. Just say, okay, we'll change it. As opposed to, but why me? Others have done it. So don't do that. Okay? You don't argue about minor things. Even if you think you're wrong, just say, okay, you're right. You're wrong, and we'll change it. Okay? So the minor things, just don't bother arguing about. And then label each review as such. That is, you put major comments, okay? And then you say, reviewer 1, major comments, 1, major comment 2, 3, 4, whatever, okay? And then you have the minor ones. So label them. So then, why are we doing this? To make it easy on the exact clear. So you don't spend time. As a reviewer, I know what that important. And you go and say, okay, how do you business? It's easy for me. So make it easy on the reviewers. And I'll tell you something you'll be surprised about in a minute. When you get the review back. Maybe I'll skip on the last one, it's really important. So, responding to reviewers, the tone of your response should be very, very respectful. Remember, the reviewer has nothing against you as a person. He doesn't say, I don't like the fact that you're bold. He doesn't even know you. So why are you taking it personally? He's just telling you about your ideas. Fine. Ideas come and go. It's nothing personal. It's not really personal. Okay? Now, so don't be defensive. He may be telling you things that are true. It maybe does not. So just say, oh, how can you say that? It's mine. I've spent so much time. No. Just say, okay, I'm going to look at it. And if it's good, comment. I think that the wrong, I could actually respond in a way that is respectful, but at the same time, you could make an argument why you're going to do what you have. But do it in a very respectful way. So, this is very important. Do not, and I say do not, make insinuations about reviewers being ignorant or idiots. That's the worst thing you can do. I've seen responses of people saying, well, the reviewer has no idea, they don't know what they're talking about. They're not in the ignorant, meaning that, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to go back to those reviewers. Do you think they say, oh, thank you for telling me that I'm an ignorant person? No. You're going to be rejected. I can guarantee you that. Don't do that. Just say, okay, I can understand that you have this opinion. But don't say you're ignorant. No matter how you say it. Okay? Be careful. Be careful how you address, because you're at their mercy. You don't even know who they are. It's anonymous. Right? So be careful how you say it.
And also focus, as I said, focus on the batteries.
So focus on the major ones. The minor ones, who cares? Say yes. Everything say yes, yes, yes. And then the major ones are the ones that matter. These are the ones that are going to make the paper acceptable or rejected. Not the minor ones. Right? Focus.
So spend some time. Spend some time explaining, okay, how you address the reviewer's comments. And so you do it in the cover letter. Nobody's asking you to say, I apologize all the time. No. You can just say, okay. If they are correct, you say, we agree. And we have changed it, and it's how we changed it. Okay? Fine. If you think they're wrong, you don't say you're wrong. You say, this is a school of thought. We understand where you're coming from. However, there's another school of thought that says so. And here's the reference for that. And that's why we took that school of thought. So it's evidence-based. It cannot be, you're wrong and I'm right. He said, you're right and I'm right. It's different, right? So I can accept it when you tell it to me. But if you say, you're wrong, oh, I think so you're smart, right? That's what you say. But instead, you say, no, you're right. But actually, there's another school of thought. There's another way of doing it. And here's how to do it, and this is what to be found. So it's evidence-based. It cannot be found. No.
So that's why you should really spend some time really articulating how you're going to, So, all right, very good. So, again, remember that reviewers are volunteers. So they don't work for you, they don't work for the journal, they're volunteers. Right? So they're doing their best. No matter what you think, they're doing their best. Okay? So, and your response, okay, should follow the point by point. And get to the point. Now, here's the surprise to you. Most reviewers, listen to this, most reviewers will not read your revised version. Scandal, right? How could that be? I'm telling you, this is experience. Most reviewers will not read your revised version. You may say, how can you make a decision then? It's based on your response. Your response is the most important. Because you read your paper already, right? Then you make modifications and you have the response letter. The response letter is explaining how you address the comments, correct? That's all. Most of them will not even look, don't even open your revised version. Because they say, I've read it, I know what is it, just tell me what change you make. And then I make a decision. And where do you say that? In the comment letter, in the response to reviewers. So therefore, spend a lot of time on the response letter. So put everything that you have changed in the response letter. This is the thing that you're going to be reading. Most likely, most of them, I'm not saying all of them, most of them will only read the response letter. Now, I'm going to tell you something that may seem contradictory to what I said. When I tell you about the paper, you should be as short as possible. There is no word limit for the response letter. Put as much as you can. For two reasons. For two reasons. The first reason, as I said, is because that's the only document that probably will be read by the reviewer. The second one is more psychological. It's because if you put a lot of stuff, then you give the impression that you work very hard to respond to them. You listen. If they see there and say, oh, you spend a lot of time doing this, they listen. And therefore, it's very hard for me to reject the paper. Because I said major revision, I cannot say reject it. And I see that you've done a lot of work. And therefore, more likely than not, I will actually accept it. That's a psychology. So put there as much as you can in the response letter. I'm going to tell you a story now. A long time ago, one of my PhD students and I wrote a paper. And we submitted it to, back then, a major journal called the NTV Journal. Some of you may actually know that. It's one of the top journals in the area of databases. When we received the reviews, it was major reviews. And really, they were extensive reviews. And I met with my student, by the way, and his professor at the University of Michigan, that's Brian Jan. And so Brian listen, I was elected to Virginia Tech at the US. Listen, what do you think? Do you think we should really put together a lot? It's going to take at least 6 months for us to implement all these things. Do you think we should work on it, or should we just go to another journal? So we wrote the paper, another journal. We debated it, and then at the end we decided it was a good idea actually to work on it, work on the revision, and submit the revised version to this journal, because it's the top journal, and we said that if it gets accepted, it's going to be highly cited. And we did. And we worked on it. So the original paper, the size of the paper was I think around 40 pages. 40 pages. That is the original paper. Guess how long was the response to the reviews? It was 80 pages. 80. We actually spent 80 pages to respond to all the reviewers. We spent an awful amount of time describing how we responded to the reviewers' comments. And it was accepted. And actually, it is the highest cited paper in the area with 900 citations. One paper. It's actually seminal work. Actually, everybody else is cited in the area. So it was worth it. We spent 6 months, and you have your career, right? So it's all about actually having this idea and saying, okay, I need to do it and do it right. And you spend an awful amount of time doing it, but you do it the right way. Okay? So it's not lost time, but you need to be focused, really focused. So, here's an example of response to an associate editor, and you say we would like to thank you and the reviewers for taking time to review our revised paper, and so on. And then you just say how you request to address all issues raised by reviewer 1, we must implement the suggestion of reviewer 3. However, we're not including our response to review as we have been asking only respond, because the editor said don't worry about the other one, but only respond to the reviewer 1. So you just tell them, this is how we did it. Remember, you are really, don't make assumptions, make it clear. Spend some time, don't say, oh, you know. You think that this editor only knows you? There are hundreds of people that communicate. So make sure that you tell them exactly what it is that you're doing. Okay? Make it easy. So then you can talk about, a summary of the replies. Okay? And you say then the structure of your response. You say, we list reviewers' comments, follow them with details, and we prefix each review's comment with the word comment. We prefix the replies with the reply. Or again, thank you for your help. See, I actually tell them how they should read my response. See what I mean here? It's just make it easy, make it easy, make it easy. Just for them to say, wow, make it easy. Thank you. I can read it. I suppose, I don't know what you're trying to say. Why are you putting this here? I don't understand. And that's really bad. If you just take time to read it. Right? So, and then you say, here's how we're going to do it. So comment 1. Okay, so first, you have the editor's comments, how you address them. Is it the first editor comment and then your reply? And then comment 2, your reply. As you can see. So it's very easy. You say, here's your comment. And don't put comment that are positive, who cares? You only put the comment that actually require a reply. That actually you say how you address them. If you say, oh, it's a nice approach, don't say thank you. I know it's good approach. Don't waste that. Just talk about things that need to be replied. Okay? Only the comment that needs a reply. Okay, this is the moment of truth. هذا اليوم المشؤوم. Paper rejection. Everybody hates it. Nobody likes it. Everybody hates it. Okay. So you hate. We regret to inform you. We regret to inform you. هذا العبارة يكره هذا. We regret to inform you. So what do you do? What do you do if you receive such an email? We regret to inform you. Okay? Very important. So, first, don't be angry, please. Don't be angry. Stay calm. It's very difficult. We're not happy. Nobody is happy. That's a problem too. But actually, just take a deep breath and say, I don't like it, but there's a reason. Yeah, it's okay. You say, listen, I'm not going to be the first, I'm not going to be the last. I'm just going to have to learn from it and move on. Right? We all have setbacks. But we learn from those setbacks. As a matter of fact, within the story, Microsoft actually celebrates certain setbacks. Do you know that? Certain failures are actually celebrated by Microsoft. Do you know why? They said, actually, or they say that those failures actually made us realize that actually we could be much, much better. That's why we celebrate them. Because they identify key issues that actually, if they were to be, to continue, that would be our devastation. And we celebrate. So some of the failures are actually saying it's good that we were caught now, not later. So be careful. So it's very important. So wait for a few days after receiving the notice of rejection of your paper. Take a deep breath, wait a few days before you sleep. After breathing exercises. Okay? So don't get angry. And follow what's called the 5 R's. practice of rejection. First, reread the comments, why your paper was rejected. Review the original, okay, the original paper in light of the comments. Now, because when you receive the rejection, usually you emotion, you can't think. You say, why? I worked so hard, you know, this and that. Oh, they don't like me. I don't know. And you start actually having all those emotions. And it's normal, we're humans, no? We've gone through that, right? It's normal. But after a few days, after you calm down, you start actually thinking rationally. And you say, well, there must be a good reason. It can't be because they don't like me. It's because there's something wrong with the paper. And I would like to read what it is that is wrong, so I can actually act on it. So, the first thing is, and then after you've done that, you rework the material away from the paper. So you say, okay, there's an issue with the paper, I'm gonna try to rework the issues that were identified that they thought were fatal. That's why the paper was rejected, okay? And then you revise the paper, and either you submit it to the same journal, and I would advise you against that. Usually, you know, it's not a good idea, because you may go to the same reviewers, and they may have their own bias. So I would advise to go to a different journal of the same quality. So anyway, so I don't know. So now in terms of, okay, so when you should, in terms of conflict of interest, if somebody sends you a paper to review, when you should not review, when there is, of course, a potential for bias or conflict of interest, right? Examples is an author is a co-worker or relative. Okay, you don't want to review because you know you're a friend. Or your judgment can be clouded, so you shouldn't review it. Or past supervisor, or provider of preferment, right? That it, you know, whatever. Whatever. You shouldn't be reviewing the paper. Or actually, a person that you have, you know, issues with, right? It's true. Sometimes you don't like somebody, but you want to be fair. I don't want, because I know if I review the paper, probably I will have those emotions that look interfere. So therefore, I'm not going to review. Be honest, because see this. Do what you want others to do to you. That's what it is. Do you want somebody who doesn't like you to review your paper? You don't, right? So don't do it to others. You use the same principle so that you are fair to others. Okay? Of course, why should you review? So because you want to see new material, you feel added publications. So that's why you should review, because it's the latest research in your area, so the advanced and groundbreaking work, and also it's a way to learn how people write and prepare papers. And also, as I said, you participate in community service and also build networks. And people actually then rely on you, and you become a program committee member, and eventually maybe an editorial course. And you can put your CV as a way to promote yourself in your organization. All right. I would actually let me just I'm going to skip this for lack of time. Now, when I write the review, so you're the reviewer and you write the review. How would you go about writing the review? So first, you read the paper or part of it, and you make a decision, right? So you say, what is the decision? Is it accept, minor, major, or reject? So first, you address the major issues in the text, right? For example, the theory is flawed, don't spend too much time preparing the something grammar. So if the fundamental issue is the approach, don't spend time talking about the fact that that word should be there, because it's not important, it's minor. Really talk about the things that basically contribute to you saying the paper should be rejected. And that's the most important thing. And this is what you want to convey to the author, right? Again, be polite. Okay? One thing that I noticed when people write reviews is that they use the personal. Like you say, the authors have done this, or this is personal. Talk about the approach. Just say the approach is flawed, or the framework is flawed, and why it is flawed. As opposed to the authors use a flawed approach. Now you're attacking the authors. It's different to say, so you should never, ever refer to authors in your review. Refer to the algorithm, to the approach, to the framework, to the this, to that, to the experiment, but do not refer to the author. The authors are not the approach. They're not the people that you are criticizing here for their approach. You are talking about the approach itself, right? So don't make it personal. So use language that only talks about the approach. For instance, here, you don't say your reasoning is incorrect, so I'm attacking you now, right? As opposed to say the proposed reasoning is incorrect. So you're talking about the reasoning. Why do you say your reasoning? It's nothing personal. So be careful. See, this is the way actually how we can make the review more positive. So the other thing is always start with the place. I'm sure all of you have experienced instances where the reviewer starts with the bad thing. It's always a good idea to start with the good thing.